I'm Lando.
I'm Oscar.
We're going for a drive. '24 McLaren Artura
with launch control. Holy crap. Oh my god.
Oh my
Whoa,
god.
that was fast.
Horsepower and torque.
671 horsepower, 531 pound-feet of torque from a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 hybrid.
Yeah, go floor it. No, I got to downshift and floor it.
Yeah, okay. God,
I didn't
that's
get to
fast.
red line there. This thing is so quick.
Holy crap.
That was ESC on.
I know.
Launch control, I got screwed. I mean, not the warmest tires right now, but.
Yeah, so this is McLaren's hybrid supercar. It is a V6, just like their Formula One cars.
Well, it's kind of like entry level too.
It is, exactly. But man, is that ever fast. Like 0 to 60 is under 3 seconds, and it is squirrely even with traction on.
Yeah, I can see if you properly set everything up and do it, it would be pretty wild. Not gonna give a tiny little boot into cliche corner.
It's actually totally fine with the traction on. I did test that out earlier, and
yeah, it just feels like a perfect little supercar through there.
How good is the steering?
It is my favorite steering wheel, my favorite paddles.
Yeah.
Of I think any supercar or car that I've driven.
I definitely agree with you. Like McLaren steering is so good compared to every other supercar. They have not screwed it up with this car.
The way it feels in your hands,
yes.
The way the paddles like go back and forth on either side, like it's just great. And I'm doing all this with ESC on, and it did cut power a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
But like, it's a little colder. I'm just taking it easy.
Yeah, don't need to put ourselves in the ditch.
Okay, so before we get into my favorite thing, which is looks, we need to talk about how this is a plug-in hybrid, and it can go full electric.
There we go.
Can you give me the range full electric?
It'll do about 11 miles or 18 kilometers, but we've seen higher on the actual dash.
And what is this, like 90 horsepower? And this is rear wheel drive only.
Yeah, that's right. So the electric motor is actually in the transmission, and reverse is only through the electric motor, and then we have 8 forward gears through the transmission.
Yeah, we got a green plate, which means we can use the
HOV. Yeah, good job, cool. McLaren.
in a hypercar, looking kind of like like why is that guy here?
Yeah.
And when you start the car up, you start it in electric mode, and you can drive away in electric mode. It'll be fine. But once you put it into comfort, the gas motor will kick in, and then at that point, if you click it back into electric, it needs to let the engine warm up first before it'll be silent, even though you're just using electricity with a proper motor idling.
Yeah, and then when you're flooring it, this has about 50 more horsepower on the MC20 that we just reviewed, and this feels like it has 100 extra horsepower. Oh, not right now, but the MC20 also can't do that.
Okay, let me.
But man, does that that electric motor fills in the torque so nicely to the point that there's like 0 lag. Electric motor, gas. Like, that's giving me slight electric sickening vibes. It's so quick.
But there's something about it being that quick that doesn't match, and I think that's the sound. Let's listen to it.
From the outside. So we should probably get into the supercar checklist. Is it fast? Is it loud?
Yes, fast, no loud.
Floor it, Eray, again. Yeah, a little too quiet, but man, is it ever fast.
It's like one of the fastest.
Yes.
Like I'm actually scared constantly in this car.
Perfect.
And I'm glad it's not fully electric. Do you look cool getting in and out?
Do I look cool getting in and out? Heck yes, I do. The doors go up, Eray.
And it's actually pretty easy to get in and out because it's like nice and carpeted, easier way, and like it's nice and pleasant.
Because this is the new chassis, the carbon door sills are actually thinner, so it's easier to get in and out.
Does it have a bunch of carbon fiber in it?
Yes, it does, but not as much as other McLarens that we've driven.
Yeah, there's a good amount on the steering wheel. So I love that there's no buttons on the steering wheel too, and the paddles. It's just like, I know I mentioned it before, but it's so sweet.
Yeah.
Then,
does it get a lot of attention?
Yeah, okay, it does. I honked at some chick at the lights who was like zoned out. She waited like 3 seconds to turn green, so I honked. And I didn't give her I gave her up. And then she came up, they gave me the finger, and I'm like, hey, I want to say I'm sorry. And she's like, I was there for 1 second. You're just because you got an expensive car. So lesson learned. Don't honk at people when they miss the green light in a supercar. They're going to get mad.
Look, there's an unwritten rule. Don't be a dickhead in a supercar. You obey everything and you don't go above and beyond. You don't honk at people.
I should have just took it. So yeah, it got a lot of attention. I got yelled at.
Yeah.
And what else?
Does it fit a box? Yes, it does. So it kind of takes away.
Supercar fail, but I love,
oh my God,
how much room there is at the front. And it's cool that there isn't like a secondary latch to open it. No, it does
visors.
Not. It does
the
not
visors do not pass, so that is a supercar pass.
And the sun was in my eyes, and it sucked. And I couldn't even turn my hat sideways.
And what about the cup holder? That is a total pass.
2 cup holders.
So it's supercar fail.
Yeah. So small Timmy's got kind of mangled in the cup holder and doesn't really fit. So it's actually a supercar pass. So it's definitely a supercar.
100% a supercar.
But it does, have a lot of conveniences, which is nice because it's like their entry-level, like, nice supercar.
Exactly.
It's not even like that much money considering other cars. Like, it's not $700,000.
No, this is kind of an appropriate price for an entry-level McLaren.
All right, now that we're electric, off to the looks. Looks pretty sweet. Nice and simple, elegant. Nothing weird.
No, if I can say it, it's kind of subtle for a McLaren, but I think they did a really good job of blending the 720S front end with like the 650S, where you don't have like those deep black eye sockets.
Yeah.
It's a good mix.
It's like probably one of my favorite modern front ends, and I love the side angle, like the body lines, everything that like scoop and the way it looks. It reminds me of like Countach-ish. And like the paint is nice and reflective. It looks like very Ferrari red. Like I see a lot of people probably confuse this for a Ferrari who don't know anything about supercars.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of should be McLaren orange, but it is a good spec, and we do have these black wheels, which again probably would have been pretty nice in silver, but I understand why they went with the spec.
And big shout out to McLaren of Toronto for hooking us up with this. I saw at FAF Reserve a bunch of supercars on Continental tires. So the Continental recommended tire for this would be the Extreme Contact Sport 02.
That's right, Eray. And then we also have these cool flying buttresses on the back. And I know some people were complaining about McLaren quality. The CEO was even kind of complaining about that and saying that they were stopping orders, they were stopping building them for a while. But I have moved so many pieces of this car, and it actually feels very well built.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about the flying buttresses in the back window, like if you took those buttresses off, this would look like a ute.
Yeah.
And I would prefer my supercars with a sleek shape all the way down and like a big open engine compartment, but you can't open this one. But it does look really sick from the back looking down and everything. Like, it looks cool.
And as a McLaren, it does generate a lot of heat from that engine bay. You can see it constantly just emitting heat waves.
It's like from the engine bay, from the exhaust, like everything is just heat everywhere.
Yes.
You're in the drive-thru, you're like, what the heck? Luckily, you got your 360 camera in there so you can get through the Tim Hortons drive-thru and not hit anything. But I found a weird thing is I couldn't find the button to turn on the 360 camera, so what I did is put it in reverse and then back into drive, and then it stayed on.
That makes sense.
But it's so sick to have it, but then your reverse is still in the gauge cluster.
Ah, yes. And then the back end is all classic McLaren. You can see the transmission, you can see everything through there, you can see the motor. It's pretty nice.
I like that you can see everything, but I don't like that the whole back end is just black.
Yeah, I'm sure you can kind of color match maybe the diffuser or something like that with some MSO options.
I think I just like my supercars with a little bit of like body coloring there. Okay. Your turn to drive.
Launch control.
Launch, oh God. Lights out and away we go, Oscar. Yeah, bro. Freaking skating.
Oh my God, that's fast.
Like, how scary would this be on a drag strip?
Oh, that'd be the best.
Every single time it has got a little bit of like,
God, I love that this is a rear-wheel drive. This feels so pure still, even though it's an EV, and like, man, it just pops off those dual clutch shifts so quickly. Like, oh God, this drives so great. I love that driving-wise, I haven't lost anything from the twin-turbo V8. Sound-wise, I definitely have. From the outside, this literally sounds like my Yamaha jet ski, like almost identical.
Yeah, I mean, I've been like pretty cool with giving 6-cylinder supercars a shot.
Yeah.
But I think like today I have stopped.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? If it was just me for the day, I would rather have any Huracan.
Yeah, totally
To drive.
agree. Okay, let's see how this is through here. Man, okay, cliche corner. The turn-in is
It's just perfection.
it is perfect. Like the steering feel is incredible. Like no other supercar has this feel. And it is so fast. Like we've got that limited slip differential, which is fighting for grip at every moment. Man, this is so nice. And that McLaren suspension, again, they still have not screwed that up. It is so good. The difference from comfort, sport to track is amazing. Track is still pretty comfortable. It doesn't have that crazy hard thump over bumps that some supercars do. It's just still comfortable.
And then our buttons to adjust our modes and stuff are on the gauge cluster, which is attached to the steering wheel like a 350Z. And like the buttons are easy to use, kind of like Lexus style. It's great.
Exactly. Like, yeah, everything is logically laid out. The only thing with this gauge cluster, I wish the font size was a little bit bigger, because when you're going fast, last thing I want to do is try and read something on here.
Well, you don't need to read it. If
You don't.
If you own it, you know it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's like really fast. And I feel like it's almost like good that it's quiet, because you could probably get away with more
That is true.
around people compared
Yes.
to a Lambo. But like, yeah, dude, there's just something about, like, I can, personally, when I drive,
Yeah.
I can't go as fast as these cars can go, but I can use the sound as loud as they go.
Exactly. That's why like the V10 is so special.
Yeah.
'Cause you just hear it all the time.
And I love the sound of that 650 and
Yeah, you did.
570. Like, I talk about those McLarens constantly because I just love them, and this, I don't have that feeling.
Because this doesn't have like those turbo whooshes or anything like that, like the crackles or the pops or anything like that. Like the MC20, you get a lot of turbo whooshes and things. Here you don't. It's just this kind of droning-ish sound. It's not the best.
Yeah.
That's my biggest complaint about this car, because everything else is pretty fantastic.
For me, it's like exhaust. It's like through like tunnels and like in the
Yes.
echoing off the trees.
And this does have the sport exhaust as well, so this is already the louder exhaust.
Yeah, but I get it.
Yes.
Like,
They have to do this,
and it's
unfortunately.
fast and whatever. Hey, you know what I always say, right?
What?
Old cars exist.
Yes. Okay, so you made a Formula One reference when I started the car, and
Is
then I
Oscar
launched it.
going to win sooner than Lando does?
Okay, whatever, not that. Daniel Ricciardo. If you go to the McLaren website for this, Daniel Ricciardo is in the video for this car. You know what he says? He's got a very unfortunate line. I'm just gonna play it right now.
Sliding around can cost you the race. But today, I'm not racing.
And he's no longer a McLaren driver. I like Danny Rick, but that is a very unfortunate line for someone that's no longer with McLaren. Next thing I want to talk about are these seats. They're very comfortable for being a supercar. They're not those very uncomfortable Porsche carbon buckets. So it's like, if McLaren can get away with this, why does Porsche have to go to that length?
What kind of seat was in that 650 LT? Or 670 LT?
Okay,
yeah,
the
that's what I'm
world's
saying.
hardest.
They have the whole range.
I
okay?
know.
Zip it.
Yeah, but these seats, man,
seats
are
are
they
great.
comfortable. And we have adjustable lumbar, and I know you were complaining about the position of the lumbar
it's
button.
Only lumbar that I had to lean forward to adjust, which means I can't adjust it to how I'm going to sit and how I want it to feel.
And I've got no problem with that, because I guess I have long, non-T-Rex arms.
But you got to be in neutral, parked with the handbrake up, to set that into your driving position in the infotainment.
but it's cool that we have the presets in this as well.
Yeah.
And driving position is actually nice and low. I feel like I'm very low to the ground. Visibility is fantastic in this, and the fact that our gauge cluster binnacle moves with the steering wheel is pretty cool.
Yeah, and all the gauge cluster modes change with your drive modes, and it's perfect. You can customize the left with the stock, but like, you don't really need to do anything. It's just perfect the way it is.
Yes.
And when you get in it, it's in driver entrance comfort mode.
Yep.
And then you pull that left paddle stock, and it'll put you into your driving position, the last driving position. There's a lot of convenient things for daily driving this.
Yeah, and then you can nose lift. I don't know if you already said that. I wasn't paying attention.
I did not.
And then you can also do a variable drift angle in your gauge cluster. So yeah, you can slide this thing around, and if you don't want to go full traction off and then use it yourself, you can actually just get the car to do that for you.
Okay, brake pedal.
Brake pedal's fantastic.
Gas pedal.
Nothing weird
also is
considering
good.
it's a
And
hybrid.
Carbon ceramics too, which helps a lot. Yeah, there is no regen for the electric stuff through the brakes. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, thank you, McLaren Jesus. Okay, next thing, interior-wise, we got Alcantara everywhere. We've got this new infotainment over here, which is actually really easy to use. We got this cool little dial on the side to control it.
That's your volume knob.
And then our back button as
And
well.
then push in for back, and then yeah, swipe down, click buttons. We got Apple CarPlay. We just double click that, and then it'll get us to a thing where we can touch Apple CarPlay. It works really well. Sound system's pretty all right. Our climate's through there, which is not the easiest to control, but it's a supercar, so I expect it to work just like this. Overall, they did a great job. They didn't screw it up. It does have Sirius XM. It's not active right now.
Ah, whatever, who
But
cares?
it does have it.
You know what it does have? A jet ski sounding engine, though. Man, does this ever rip through cliche?
A little too fast for cliche, though.
No,
you know
it's
what I mean?
perfect. It's perfect. Their traction's holding me back. Like, it's not giving me the variable drift angle that I'm asking for it with my right foot, which is a safety thing, which is great. It's like when we drove that McLaren GT in the winter, and it, you know, we left the traction on, and you could definitely still drive that in the winter.
Yeah.
This is kind of doing that in the summer.
I would love to just like test out launch controls at that Corvette Eray skid pad.
Yeah, just like unlimited
Just be like, oh,
concrete.
you spun out. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
And then getting in, like I said earlier, it was a lot easier than previous McLarens. There's a perfect spot for your phone right here next to the shifter stuff and the start button. To park it, you got to put neutral and lift the handbrake, which a lot of supercars make you do nowadays.
And it automatically puts on the handbrake for the most part.
Yeah, and yeah, it's nice. And then where I'm putting my feet, these floor mats pretty cool. They say McLaren on it. I mean, for your own personal car.
Get a set of TuxMat. Go to tuxmat.com/TheStraightPipes.
The pattern kind of looks like carbon fiber.
Yes, it does, kind of.
Super floor mat checklist. And unlike a lot of reviews on the internet that I've seen, nothing has gone wrong in this car at all, not even the slightest while driving it.
No, I haven't felt sketchy. I haven't felt the need to use the warranty. I haven't felt the need to break something off the car by ripping it off.
No, it's like completely solid in our experience today.
So I think what the CEO did by stopping production, fixing everything, has actually worked.
Yeah, for us. And then to end it off, we do have adaptive cruise and a lane departure assist thing, which is pretty cool. And then a little armrest here where we could hold stuff like hockey cards.
Yeah, because we don't have a glove box. That is kind of our glove box.
Yeah. That's it. I think it's time we get to the price.
This one starts at $276,900.
Canadian.
And this one is option to approximately $350,000.
Unbelievably reasonable considering how much other cars go for these days.
And we just drove the MC20.
We drove an Eray, we drove the 296 GTB.
Yeah, this is a really good value proposition other than the Eray. Like the Eray is obviously the best value per dollar, but this is the most supercar per dollar because I would take this over the MC20.
This is definitely faster than the MC20, but I feel like the MC20 kind of stands out a bit more looks-wise and stuff.
Okay, it's definitely a more attractive looking vehicle.
Okay, NSX kind of competes with this.
Kind
even
of.
though RIP, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know, hybrid and...
V6.
Yeah.
But all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Rear-wheel drive.
And then also, like, the Eray sounds way better than this. And is potentially cooler than this and way less expensive. And then 296 GTB is like way more money, but looks cooler.
Yeah, and is definitely faster.
But the doors don't go up.
No, and I bet you can get one of these easier than potentially all those cars other than maybe an FC20.
Yeah, I really like this for what it is. If you're looking for one of those supercars, here's all of them on tsp.truecar.com. Do some imaginary browsing like the rest of us when you want to look up supercars.
So thanks for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying Supercar September in November. I don't even know what month it is anymore.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe, send this video to a friend.
Yes, thank you. McLaren, great car.
Great car.